Today is day one of the $100 room challenge. I shared with you last week the video of the before and my plans and everything for this space. I will link that in the description below. But what I decided to do for this 1 month $100 room challenge is our basement staircase. Now it's an area that a lot of people just tend to ignore, and I've ignored it too for 2 years, but it's right off our kitchen and we go down there a lot. My kids go down there a lot. They tend to leave the door open. So it's an area that I actually see many times a day, and I am coming up and down from there as well. So I decided, let's do it. And with a $100 budget, it's a small enough space that it's completely doable. I can do the whole entire thing. So the first step is going to be to take everything out. Take down the shelves. All of the shelves that are there were already here when we moved in, and the placement and the spacing just does not work for our family. So I will add some type of storage back, but not the exact positions and the arrangement that it is. After all of that, then I'll give everything a really good cleaning, and then we'll be on to painting. So let's go take a look at what we're going on here first. Couple of things about the space. Now, this rack that's back here that holds our mop and a little vacuum that we just use for emergency use. I'm pretty sure that's going to go back up. Also, what's probably going to say is this glow right here, this light fixture. Try to stand in front of it. It is probably like the original light fixture. We haven't quite done a ton of research. We assumed there was electricity in the house when it was built. Maybe it was added soon afterwards, but it appears to be the original because it is similar to all the other original light fixtures. But I'm gonna just clean it up and probably put like a cooler looking bulb in it so that it looks older. Now for a funny and maybe semi-embarrassing story of these shutters. When we came to look at our house, we looked a few times, and we live in a neighborhood that houses, like, they go quickly on the market. They don't last very long unless there's maybe something wrong with them. And we didn't know what it was about the house that was, I thought it was absolutely perfect. Loved it. We had to wait for our farmhouse to sell in order to be able to put an offer in. But we dubbed it the toilet in the closet house. So we called it the toilet in the closet's house because literally behind here is our coat closet. There was a formal coat closet as soon as you walked in. We took that out within the first week because the air opening to our home was so narrow. I have a blog post all about that. I'll link that in the description below. So there was a closet here that had a toilet in it. We're like, we don't want a toilet in there because it's just a toilet. There was no sink, nothing else. It was super awkward. I think that's I do a blog post about that as well, and I'll link that below as well. So we converted that into our coat closet once the toilet was removed. So this right here, maybe it was for ventilation. The awkward thing would be if you're coming up the stairs and the slats of the shutters were open, you could see right into the toilet in the closet. So that's the story behind that. So there really is no purpose here. I guess I'm gonna use it for ventilation. We don't need any type of ventilation in our coat closet. I'm not quite sure if I'm gonna leave this here because it would involve going into our coat closet as well. took down the shelves here, I discovered this mustard yellow, and I had forgotten that the same color was in our kitchen. When we took down the cabinets, the upper cabinets, and replaced them with open shelving, I found a ton of mustard yellow. So it's kind of a fun thing about old houses. So what that means is that our basement steps is right off of our kitchen. That means that the kitchen was a mustard yellow and it carried over down to the basement steps. We've found wallpaper hidden behind cabinets, all kinds of things. It's kind of a neat part of an old house. Now it's time for the fun part when we can actually start seeing something different, like the space starts looking better. Everything is wiped down, cleaned up really well. Actually, I did not clean the actual staircase yet because I'm not gonna work on that right now, but first up is painting of the walls and the ceiling, and it's gonna look so much better. Now that I've gotten started on this project and I have a lot of ideas on how to make it functional and not look like an ugly staircase, I've come to the realization that I actually only have one goal for this project, and that one goal is that I don't fall down the stairs while I work on it. Now, I told you earlier about these shutters and how we have a coat closet on the other side, which used to be a bathroom. Anyway, I was trying to decide, what am I gonna do? I'm gonna take these out, and I'm just gonna try to keep it simple, and I'm just gonna paint it. The first thing I need to do though is prime, because there is a wood stain on here. Ideally, I would use an oil-based primer, but I don't have any on hand, and since I'm trying to do this on a budget and do it in a timely manner, I'm just gonna use a water-based, so I probably am gonna have to do a couple of coats of primer, and then I'm just gonna paint it white, just like the rest of the frame right here. I think it'll make it not stand out, and because I don't want it to be a focal point. Week 1 of the $100 room challenge is now complete. Now, oftentimes when I get to the end of this week, I feel one of two things. I either feel like, wow, the space is completely transformed by what I've done, and sometimes I'm like, I don't notice that big of a difference. So this time I kind of feel like it's the latter there, mostly because there wasn't a huge amount of demo to do. I mean, it was just really the shelves that needed to come down, and all the stuff all the junk basically that we've been storing there had to be taken out. So by doing those things, it wasn't a huge amount of demo. And by painting it, it did make a difference. Now, if you're in person, you can definitely tell the huge difference. When you just look at the photographs or the video, you kind of miss all the scratches and the scuffs and all the mess and everything. Also, detracting from like the niceness of the walls and the ceiling being painted is the fact that the staircase is not done yet. So please ignore how terrible that looks. So what did I do this week? Demo, took all the shelves, took everything out of the space and gave it a good cleaning, and then painted it. Painted the trim and the walls. Anyway, so just by doing that, it just does feel fresher and cleaner. Once the space was though cleared out, the demo, all the junk was removed, James and I kind of like stood there for a little while. We talked about different plans and what could work, especially within the $100 budget. So kind of looking at like, what do we have? How can he help me? What can we do in this space? So I feel like I have a clear vision now, especially that it's painted. I'm looking at it. I'm getting excited about what we can do in this space. I'll be posting an update every Wednesday. So what should you expect to see next week? What am I going to be working on this coming week? One of two things. It also depends on, let me show you what James started to do for me. I kind of mentioned an idea and he's like, hey, I have something I think that can kind of fill in. So let me show you what he did for me. Okay, so the reason why I'm saying one of two things is because now that he has some sheetrock and that he's putting up in those spaces, I'm so excited to not have to look to the ugly basement as soon as I kind of open the door and start to go down the steps. So depending upon how far he gets in that that part of it, the amount of time that he has, I would love to do the staircase at this point, but I don't want to go ahead and do that if he's just gonna make a mess of it and it's gonna get into his way. So I'm gonna talk to him a little bit, see how long, and maybe he has that done here early in the week, so that I can start working on the staircase and I can do that. Otherwise, my focus might turn towards the shelving and the organization of it, and then we'll have to do the stairs after that. Now, if you're thinking to yourself, well, what exactly is this? If you're just stopped in today, what is the $100 room challenge? I talked all about it and showed the before of the space in my last video. I will link that in the description below. There are also blog posts that I have with photos and all this information and possibly even more. I'll link that in the description below as well. So yes, it is a little bit kind of like I'm still winging it. I have some ideas, some plans, but really by clearing out the space, I have a better vision. I have some ideas that I'm excited about. I will have another update next Wednesday here on YouTube, as well as my blog. So be sure to come back and check those out then.